Carl Canedy of the Rods. Welcome to 69 Face of Rock. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good too. First of all, Carl, congratulations on your new album. Two
Thank you.
new albums in 2 years.
Yes.
Seems like you caught a new wind of creativity. Tell me what's going on.
I think this started when, first of all, COVID was a nightmare for us. And our bass player of many, many years, Gary Bordonero, decided he wanted to retire from the band. And so that left us in a position of, do we go on? What do we do? And then we found Freddie Villano, and we had known Freddie. I had done sessions with Freddie, and David, knew Freddie. And so we're all friends as well. And but Freddie joining the band, he's younger and he's enthusiastic and he's a team player and he's a great guy to have in the band. And that totally changed things, energized us. So as we've done now, trying to think, it's been 3 albums. What's it been? 2 albums with Freddie, plus the live album.
Correct.
And it's just a new day. And once we finished the Rattle the Cage album, we were working on the new one, and David was starting to write songs. And for some reason, thank God, he had this creative burst. And it seemed like every other day he was saying, "Oh, I've written another one." So we just went with it, and that's what turned into this album. So David's been on a roll, and he's writing has never been better. And as a band, we're just really in a good place.
Fantastic. Now, you already had an album titled Wild Dogs back in 1982. So is
Yes,
Wild Dogs Unchained like a sequel?
that's a good question, but no, it is not. It's a we decided. I've been asking David for years. When I say years, when I wrote Wild Dogs, I believe I wrote it in the key of C. Trying to think, it was just the anti-heavy key, and one of the most favorite Rod songs by the fans of all time of our whole catalog. And so I've been wanting to do a heavy version of it. So I just hounded David for years, and finally he goes, "Okay, I think I have a version." Changed the key, changed some things, and it was great. And so we wound up doing that song, and then we thought, well, you know what, let's call it Wild Dogs Unchained because we didn't want to call it Wild Dogs. The song's definitely a little bit different.
Mhm.
And sorry, I have something in my throat. So, excuse me, that's how we came to calling it Wild Dogs Unchained. And we've been going with the Cerberus motif for a while now. Ali Han suggested it for here's the album cover.
Mhm.
Ali Han suggested it when we were doing an album for SPV that we update the dogs and from the 1982 cover, and we made them metallic, robotic, and so we just kept the theme.
Mhm. That makes sense. Um, Only a few seconds ago, you mentioned Freddie, and I have a Freddie Villano question. So he definitely brought some youthful spirit into the Rods. How would you define his role in this new reincarnation of the band, sort of?
Well, I think whenever you bring someone in, it's a new energy.
Mhm.
And Freddie is a very positive person. And so Freddie coming in and brought that positive energy, which we didn't have. Gary Gary wasn't happy with the band. He wasn't happy with just he was really dealing with some things on his own, and it just was no longer something he wanted to do, and he struggled with leaving the band. Freddie coming in, Gary was reluctant to work out parts. Whereas I've always, like with Craig Gruber and different bass players I've worked with, we've always worked out parts. So Freddie and I have worked out parts, and I call us the Thunder Brothers because he and I work out our parts, and it's a tighter rhythm section, it's a more powerful rhythm section, and we're in sync with each other, and we haven't had that for years. Not that Gary wasn't a great bass player and a great performer on stage, But Freddie is a whole different guy, and he's got a great sound, which we didn't have with Gary. Gary was very reluctant to add the low end. He was more of a mid-range kind of bass player, where Freddie is like a Geezer Butler kind of bass player.
Hmm.
So I totally changed not only the sound of the band, but the feel of the rhythm section. And he and I just lock in, and it's just so much better in that sense. It's more fun to play, it's more energizing. And so it just brought a whole several dimensions to the band that we didn't have prior.
That makes sense. Let's dig into the new album and talk about the song. So the opener, Eyes of a Dreamer.
Mhm.
Tell me about that song.
Well, I can only speak to so much because David wrote these songs.
Hmm.
So, you know, David has really turned the corner, and David's focus is, and as you can see from the album, it's much more political. It's There's no more the Rod's days of when we were like basically a punk band of being sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So those days are gone, and he's expressing his opinions on things, and he's got some really great lyrics, I think.
Hmm.
So I think Tears is just one of those.
Rock and Roll Fever,
I,
right?
yes,
I don't think even Cowbell will help you guys out this time.
that's true. David always comes up with some kind of a rock and roll song, and he's great at it. And that song, Rock and Roll Fever and Time to Rock, two kick-ass songs, I think, on the album. I love them.
Hmm. Mirror, Mirror.
Mirror Mirror is Mirror Mirror. Interestingly, I did a drum track. That drum track you hear on the album, I did that track,
Hmm.
and I thought that sucks. And I'm going to so I sent it to Lonnie and to David. They were in the studio at the time, and I sent it to them, and I go, I think it sucks. I'm gonna re-record this drum track, and I get this frantic call from both of them. Don't erase that. Don't lose that. That's a great drum track. I'm like, nah, I could play it better. Like, don't lose it. That's fantastic. It's perfect for the song. I'm like, no, screw that. I can do a better take. So, but I said I'll keep it. And I did a whole other session and I tried to play it again and I couldn't play it any better. I couldn't play it um, half as well as I did that take, which I thought was just a crappy take that I wanted to get rid of.
So what do
So
you think they spotted in it that you failed to see?
I think it's that, early on when you're young and you're energetic and I have, I would have great licks that I learned. Well, I thought they were great for me. And so we have a song, or I'd write a song, or David would write a song, and the fill didn't fit, but I would put it in anyway. I'm like, screw it. This is a cool fill. I want people to hear what a good drummer I am and that I have this cool fill. So I'd put it in. It did not fit the song, but I didn't care. Screw the song. I want people to hear my fill. I don't play like that anymore. Now I play for the song. I listen to the lyrics. I focus on what the song is trying to accomplish and how to make it powerful and move the song forward. And I think they saw that the drum track was doing just that. It was the right track for the song. And I didn't recognize that. I was thinking I should be a little more clever with my fills you know, and they realized that I shouldn't be doing that.
That's
So
right. Um, Tears for the Innocent.
I love that song. I think that is going to be the third single from the album.
Hmm.
And that song is one that people cite as one of their favorites on the album.
It's a
And
powerful.
it is. And again, a political statement.
Title cut, Wild Dogs Unchained. That's the one that got the ball rolling here.
Hmm.
What can
I,
you
you
say?
know, I just love the way it's what I've wanted for all these years was to have a heavy version of Wild Dogs Unchained, of Wild Dogs. And David, came up with it and we worked out the track and I'm thrilled with it because I really all these years I just would hear it and we would play it live sometimes and it just wouldn't be heavy. just because it was in the wrong key. And so now it's in the right key, and I'm really thrilled with it. And it seems like people love this version of it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Um, Time to Rock. That's it seems like for the Rods, it's always time to rock, isn't it?
Always time. And that song, David, we played Sweden last year, Time to Rock Festival. And that's what inspired David to write Time to Rock.
Yeah, simple things.
Mhm.
Run, run, run.
Run, Run, Run that was a fun song. Like that was a different Rod song. And these songs on this album are a bit different from a typical Rod's album. And Run, Run, Run's like heavy, but it's powerful. It's got that, it's not an up tempo per se song, but really heavy to me.
You mentioned the album is very political, so the title like World on Fire certainly gives that away.
Yes, that's one of my World on Fire is one of my favorite songs David's written. In my opinion, one of the best songs he's ever written. And it's a definite statement on the affairs of the world and in the current state. But if you looking at it, it's really about the human. To me, I look at it as it's the human race. This same struggle, the same man's inhumanity to man. It's been going on for centuries. It's somehow this greed and whatever, but human nature to just have a violent tendency, and instead of taking care of each other and building each other up, we have a tendency to demonize and this is mine and I'm going to go after what you have if I feel that I want that. I don't care. And so it's been that way world history, but it's definitely finger on the pulse of what's happening in the world today more than ever.
Very reflective on what you see when you turn on the TV news.
Absolutely.
So is Make Me a Believer kind of a wandering song at this point?
Make Me a Believer was on the Heavier Than Thou album with Shmulek Avagal. And we were starting to play it, putting it into our set. And Freddie really liked it. And so Freddie suggested it. Now, Freddie and I have differing opinions on that. He says he didn't, but he's a lying bastard. No, but he doesn't remember that he wanted to do the song. And of course, in my with my advanced years, maybe I don't remember. Maybe he didn't say it. Maybe it just came to me in a dream. But my dementia. But that was a song that we loved playing. I was like, Freddie really felt it was fun, and we thought let's do a remake. Let's
And
have fun with it.
speaking of that record, if you recall, we did an interview back in Chicago regarding your entire career, and when we got to that
Yes,
album, you've mentioned that you had available original artwork, and as a
yeah,
result of that interview, you sold that artwork.
I did. Yes, I was very pleased. My friend Monty Connor connected me with the collector, and so I sold it for $10,000.
Well, we're talking
Yeah,
again. Care to
yeah.
advertise anything else?
I have some memorabilia, but nothing I'm ready to sell right now. But certainly nothing like that original oil painting, which was very, very cool.
Yeah. The album ends with Hurricane. What can you tell me about that track?
Hurricane, when we did this on the In the Raw album, that was a demo. We literally went in, I assembled drums from the closet and just put a double bass kit together with a number of different drums from different drum kits. And we did that album live. And there were very few overdubs, vocals sometimes, lead guitar, and that was it. It was very sparse. It was very much the band live. And so I always thought we could do a more updated version of Hurricane. And so I was the one who suggested that. Let's do this song.
Mhm. What's really unbelievable here is like there's a number of older ideas, but the freshness that you guys added to it is quite appealing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think we approached it in the right way. The band is still on fire. We still have that the proverbial fire in the belly. We're not turning it into we're going to be playing acoustic versions of the Rod songs.
Tell me about the recording sessions for this album.
Well, this is, we record remotely now.
Mhm.
So I record here. Let me see if I can show you. See my drum
I
set
see you
right here.
kid.
Yeah, this is my recording set, and you can see the microphones. All the drums are mic'd, and that's been a process, actually for me to buy new microphones, change positions, and all that to get a decent drum sound. And then David records with Lonnie Park, who's responsible for the keyboards and some backups on the album. But Dave records with Lonnie, who's a multi-Grammy award-winning engineer producer, and he's like the fourth member, is the unofficial fourth member of the Rods. And so David records there, and then Freddie records at home, as do I.
Mhm. The band is listed as the producers. What things do you look for when trying to capture that perfect sound?
I think at this point we all kind of know what we really what the approach of the band. So we're not going to bring I'm not going to start playing with brushes. Oh, this is a hurricane, baby. I'm a pound of love. And play with little brushes, and
Mhm.
I'm not going to do that kind of stuff. And we all know what we have to bring to the table for the band's sound. And I think it's that's you bring the energy, and what we look for is like with Freddie. We never had that low end, powerful pumping bass that we have with Freddie. It's fantastic to have that. So that's something that we're just thrilled that we have because it added the dimension that we've really been lacking for all these years.
Mhm. Carl, tell me more about Lonnie Park, who adds keyboards and orchestration. How was
Mhm.
he able to enrich these songs?
Lonnie he's self-taught and he's brilliant. He's a very, very talented man. Uh, he's built his own studio. He's done installations. He wrote a book on doing installations in churches and venues, and he's really amazing. But watching Lonnie with the songs, he goes to his keyboard, which is right next to his desk, and he'll just play a melody. He'll hear something or an idea, and he'll start working on it and just knocks it out like that.
Mhm.
So one of those people. David's like that as well.
So now that the album is out, what plans do you have to promote it with live appearances or possibly a tour?
The album was supposed to have been released in January 19th of this year,
Mhm.
but Massacre was going through some changes. My little white cat is here. She's starved. I forgot to feed her this morning, so
Mhm.
that's why I'm bending down to pet the little kitty because she's rubbing against me. Uh, she loves to do the black pants dance. She's pure white, so she loves to rub against you when you have black on and fur you up a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Uh, so we were going to do dates, and we were going to do a live at Rose Hall event where we were going to bring everything from the warehouse, have big sales, hang out with the fans, play the album. This was supposed to be, early spring, but it didn't come out. So it's only coming out now, and so as a result, there's really nothing for the winter, and probably not until the spring of next year before we do any dates.
Got it. Um, will there be another album in 2026, considering you guys are on the roll?
We are talking about it. We're pushing.
Mhm.
We're pushing.
All
It'd be
right.
nice to have another album out, especially because David's on a roll. Freddie and I have some ideas as well. I have a couple of things that are actually pretty fleshed out, and it's just a question of you know how motivated we all get. It's definitely a lot of work to do an album, but
Absolutely. Yeah.
but it's also labor of love.
And I think that's what drives everything forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know that at some point, like our future is behind us. As I heard of boxing, some commentators say about a boxer's future is behind him, and that's the band. We are a band in the twilight years here. So I don't really want this to be our last album. I'd like to see us do another album or two, but it all depends. You know, they have to come together organically, or you can't force them. And when you do try to force them, it's a waste of time because there's no inspiration behind it. So
Mhm.
we'll see what happens.
And when you get in those twilight years musically, what becomes more of a challenge?
Well, for me, I have to practice. You know, I have to stay in shape
Mhm.
because being a drummer. But I think David is has just refined his playing. He's playing better than ever. Uh, his tone, his style, and his songwriting. So I think, now that we're older, I think he's looking at things differently, and that's reflected in his songwriting. Mine as well. We'll see what songs of mine make the next album. But you definitely look at things differently. You don't, you kind of the testosterone and all the energy that's flowing through you when you're young and just getting things out. You're kind of more reflective, and you're kind of a little more sophisticated, a little more refined in how you're doing things, even though you're keeping the edge, but you're now structuring things in a way that maybe you didn't think to do when you were younger because you were just like, yeah, let's get this out and
Yeah.
forge ahead.
And as you get older, how do you balance your family, personal life with music, band life?
Well, I think what we've done is we're really only doing festivals and some regional dates, and we're picking and choosing our dates because we don't want to be in a van. We've been offered those things, and we've also been offered some tours in Europe close to Christmas, and we just said thank you, but no thank you because we don't want to be away, during the holidays with our families. So,
Uh,
we've had to adjust to that. Like when we were younger, we would have said, oh, there's a place to play. We're there.
that makes sense. Carl, thank you for keeping the spirit alive and still delivering quality music for your fans.
Well, thank you for the support of all these years. And I really enjoyed our conversation out on the little patio, the cafe there out in front of on the street in Chicago while all the Swifties were there. The Taylor Swift show was going on as well.
We were event within an event.
We were, yes. And that's still, I have to apologize to her for all the fans we took away from her for the show, but I'm sure she'll recover.
Yeah, she might have recovered a little bit.
Um,
Um,
anyway, great seeing you.
Likewise, thank you so much, Carl, and good luck. Hopefully, we can see you again in Chicago.
Love that. All right, take care.
Bye.